Hi everybody, welcome to Dandelion Cottage and Watercolor Wednesday. I'm Leslie Watkins. I hope everybody's well today and that you are warm and cozy wherever you are. We've had a tremendous amount of snow here, and I'd say somewhere between 2 and 3 feet, and we're still getting shoveled out. And even though many of the people in my town are without power or Wi-Fi, I'm happy to say that I do, so I'm able to be here with you today. So today is March 15th, and we're just a couple of days away from my anniversary. So I've been using Stampin' Up! Products since for the past 6 years. I've been a demo. So this March 22nd is going to be my 6-year anniversary. And I just wanted to talk a little bit about that because it kind of relates to what I'm going to be sharing with you today, which is some of the past lessons from the Watercolor Card Club. So I've been a watercolor painter for a very long time, and I found Stampin' Up! When I was looking for ways to create boxes and cards and other paper crafting products using my watercolors. And I tried a lot of different materials, and none of them were what I was looking for until I found Stampin' Up! And what I found out was that all of the little watercolors that I had done for instruction for my watercolor classes, or just for practice or warm-ups or whatever, all these little bits and pieces that I would never frame or use for any particular purpose were great as note cards. So I'm going to show you some of the odds and ends that I have kicking around here, and examples of some of the subjects that we've painted from in the Watercolor Card Club. And then I'm going to pick one, and I'm going to show you how quick and easy it is for you to make a really pretty note card for somebody using your practice pages. And sometimes, you know, you may want to use both sides of the watercolor paper, and you can do that because fine quality watercolor paper will allow you to do it. So what I have here on my desk here is my ceramic palette that just has 3 colors. I have my yellow, my red, and my blue. And this is just the same yellow as this. It just looks different because it's got a little bit of blue paint mixed into it. Down here I have some burnt umber. I don't use that for when I'm showing you the color wheel, but I like to have it handy for when I'm doing tonal or value studies. So I'm just going to put this aside for the minute. And let me make sure that you can see and hear me. And yes, that looks good. Okay. And here are some of the things that we've been working on. So this past month we started working on using values to create studies. So here's an example of a couple of thumbnail studies and a value scale, another value scale. Here's an example of a little floral design that I did using just the blue and the brown. Here's an example of using different kinds of brush strokes to get different effects. So you can see the dry brush down here and the wet and wet up above. Another example of a winter landscape. Back in I guess it must have been November, we were working on holly, getting ready for Christmas. We did some mistletoe. This is a artichoke that I did to to show you how to think about modeling green, and here are some examples of the green color mixtures, some leaves, again the value scale. So a lot of what I talk about are the essentials that you need to know to create three-dimensional form on a two-dimensional plane. And what I mean by that is to get something that has a realistic look to it. And there are a few things that you need to know, and that's what we talk about in the Watercolor Card Club. Here's an example of painting white on white. So I painted these white peonies, sunflower. Here's the lesson in perspective for the flower shape. This is one of my peacock feathers. We had a lesson in painting a peacock feather, and everybody received a peacock feather in the mail as a gift from me. And then we had these lessons. Here's my peacock feather. And then I have an example. This is a stamped image. So this was an image that was actually stamped on paper using a rubber stamp. And then I painted it in using the water-based inks, which you can also use for a watercolor effect. And again, this is the water-based ink. So you can see it's a little bit different, but very beautiful. This is watercolor, watercolor. Here's an example of a workshop that I did. So this was something that was, let me get out my artwork here. This was an example of a butterfly workshop that I did in person with some calligraphy as well. And as I was preparing for the butterfly workshop, I had some different practice pieces here. So you can see here's one that's just halfway done. Okay, so I've got a bunch of things like this kicking around that some rainy day I could finish up and use on a note card. Here's an example of a little sketch that I just did quick and not anything special, but this is a great example of something that would work very nicely on a note card. And then it goes on and on. So I've got loads of these things. Here's some dandelions. Okay, so all sorts of images in various degrees of finish. This is something I did while I was at the farmer's market. So if you have time and you're at a ball game maybe, or in the park, or you just want to spend some time doing a quick little study, you can easily do that. So let's take this one and see if we can turn this into a note card. And I'm going to be posting information about the Watercolor Card Club after I do the video today. But if you are interested in starting, today is the last day to sign up for the current lesson. So the classes run from the 16th of the month until the 15th of the following month. And the one that we're going to be working on up until today is on value. So it's a very important lesson. If you'd like to get started, I really urge you to do it today because it's a good one. And you can go to my website at dandelioncottagedesign.com. There's a lot more information there about the Watercolor Card Club, and you can also find links on my Facebook page and my YouTube channel, also at Dandelion Cottage Design. So I think what I want to do is, I have a choice. I want to make this a little bit smaller, so I can either tear it down, which is fine, or I could use a die. And what I mean by that is I have something here called the Deckled Rectangles dies. Okay, so I can just see what that looks like, and I like the way that looks. Okay, so I think that that die frames that nicely. This is the largest one. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to grab my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And all of the products that you see me using today are also available in my online store, and you'll be able to access those through the link that I post after the video today. So here we go. I'm just going to get that lined up, and I'm paying attention to the background line here, making sure that that's parallel, and just kind of getting that centered in the frame. That looks pretty good. I'm going to run that through my machine and just crank it through. It doesn't require any special tools or electricity. Everything that you need is included in the package. And there's my image, and you see I've got this beautiful deckled edge. And I have a stamp set here. It says it's called Go To Greetings, and I love this stamp set because it's just sentiments in 4 different scripts. So you can see we've got happy birthday, thinking of you, just a note, thank you, and you can have that in this very elegant font. I shouldn't say font, it's a script, or something a little more casual and something very casual. And I think what I want to use today is, I want to use something little, so I'm going to use this little tiny one. It says Just a Note. So here's a scrap, and this is a kind of a creamy cardstock. We call this Very Vanilla. And let's see. Looking at my inks, I'm trying to decide what color I like. I think I'm going to go with soft suede. And I'll get a block out. I don't want to use black. That would be too harsh for this. I think soft suede is the right value, and it's just a nice neutral color. And I'm looking for Just a Note, so let's see where that is. Oops, not a very good job. Let's try that again. I rocked the stamp. See, and I keep doing that. So I'm gonna just clean off the edge because I'm getting this, see this little line down here? That's because I'm doing sloppy stamping. So let me just try that one more time. Okay. And I want to make this really tiny. So I'm going to trim it right up to the words. And we go. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hole punch and just like that. I have a little scrap of my linen thread that's just about the right size. I'm going to fold that in half, slip that through. Okay, so I get something that looks like this. And I've got a card base and an envelope here ready to go. I'm just going to keep this very simple today. Now here's a consideration. So this looks beautiful on the card stock just like this, but you could also raise it up a little bit and get that really pretty shadow around the edge. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do something in between. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my glue, but I'm going to add it well away from the edges. So I'm putting this bead, about an inch or so away from the edges. And let me just straighten out this card base a little bit. Okay, and what this is going to do, it's going to allow the edges to curl up just a tiny bit so that I can see that really pretty shadow with the deckled edge of the card. I'm going to go ahead and give that a good burnishing with my bone folder. And then I have my little tag here, and I think what I want to do is grab a mini dimensional. I'm just going to pop that underneath there, peel away the backing, and I'm just going to add this to my vase so it looks like it's got a little tag on it. Clip my ends. And there it is. So there is an example of a cute little note card using just a quick study that I did while I was spending time at the farmer's market. And now this is going to make a beautiful note card that I can share with somebody. So I hope that gives you an idea of how easily you can create something really beautiful that you'll feel proud to share with somebody. And if you'd like to learn more about the Watercolor Card Club, please go to dandelioncottagedesign.com. And remember that today is the last day to subscribe for this month. And I will be posting the link there as well as all the supplies that I used today, and how you can subscribe to notes from Dandelion Cottage so you can learn about when the upcoming classes and workshops are. And I think that's about it for today. So stay well, stay creative, stay happy, and I will see you next time.